If you don't even have $100,000 saved, you're gonna feel like you're way behind in life, and it might even feel like it's impossible to ever be able to make or save your first six figures. And I totally get it. In fact, the late Charlie Munger, who was Warren Buffett's right-hand man with a net worth of $2.6 billion, had a famous quote where he said, "The first 100K is a bitch, but you just gotta do it." So if you're broke and struggling, just living paycheck to paycheck, you're not alone, because I've been there. I was broke, overwhelmed, watching videos just like this, trying to figure out how the hell could I ever make six figures. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how you can go from $0 to $100,000 even if you have no connections, no high paying job, and no idea where to start. We're gonna break this down step by step, and I'll also share what I would personally do if I had to start all over again from zero. First of all, let's understand why this should be the goal that you set for yourself. Why should we aim for 100K and not a cool million? Or even on the other end, something far more attainable, like just $10,000. Well, $10,000 is nice, but it's not gonna be enough to actually make an impact in changing your life. And $1 million? Sure, who wouldn't wanna become a millionaire? But that might be a better goal for the next step in your financial progress, because you can't make $1 million without first making 100 grand. So $100,000 is what I feel to be the key turning point in your financial growth, because that's when you'll be able to see more significant returns from your investments. And once you hit 100K, something shifts. You'll have momentum. You'll build new habits. You'd have a better understanding of how money works. And so the next 100K after that would likely be even easier. So there are about 7 steps that I would take if I were starting from 0 to 100K. And the first one is taking care of your bare minimum that you need for your survival. Assuming you don't already have a job, you're gonna need a stable income to fund your future moves. So this doesn't have to be glamorous, it just has to pay the bills. So for me, I'd look for a job that pays me at least $2,000 a month as fast as possible. And this could mean doing things like delivering food on DoorDash or picking up shifts at a cafe or a retail store. It doesn't matter, as long as you get a job that could get your basic needs covered. But if you already have a job, then you're already a step ahead and we can move on to the next step. This part's gonna hurt a little, but it is necessary. You're not gonna reach 100K by living as if you already have it. You need to live cheap on purpose. So if I was starting from 0, I would rent the cheapest room that I could find and maybe even get roommates if I had to. In fact, I actually did do this. For an extended period, I was just living in a room in my sister's house. And then for a while, I moved to living in my girlfriend's mom's house. It wasn't great, but I did what I had to do as I was hustling and building my finances. Also, you want to cook most of your meals at home and avoid eating anything that's unnecessarily expensive at this point. You don't need to eat a steak when a can of tuna could get you your protein. I'd also look at selling off whatever items that I might have lying around at home. In fact, this was actually what I did. I would just take photos of everything that I didn't use and listed it on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. I even sold my car and used public transportation during that time. So if you don't absolutely need your car, then you ought to consider selling it too. Plus, you gotta make sure to stop buying anything that isn't essential for your survival, whether it be new clothes or tech gadgets or even eating out. The goal here at this stage is to get your monthly expenses as low as humanly possible. If you're making $2,000 a month and spending just $1,200, that gives you some breathing room to invest in skills and the tools needed to start a side hustle. Remember, looking poor is your advantage at this point. Everything that I'm telling you to do, I actually did. In 2020, I lost almost everything during COVID and had to pretty much start all over again, so it's definitely possible. Okay, now once your basic income and living expenses are sorted, your next focus should be on leveling up your skill set. A lot of finance gurus often talk about how you should start investing and leverage compound interest, which is all great, but that only makes sense when you have some money. If your net worth is just $5,000 and you put that in the stock market, it's not gonna change your life. So your first 100K is not gonna come from any sort of investment return. Instead, you gotta focus on building it through active income. So don't shy away from hard work. But more specifically, you need to learn some high income skills that you can later charge clients for. Some of the high income skills you could consider learning are things like sales or copywriting, video editing, or coding. But from my experience, the best thing you could focus on right now is to get good at making short form videos like for TikTok and Reels. The reason is that there are tons of small businesses that are ready to pay anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000 a month for video content marketing on these platforms. And the internet has made it super easy to learn these skills. So you don't need to go to college or even get a certificate. All you need is some proof of your work. So what you need to do is to watch a couple of videos on how to create short form content, learning how to script videos that get views, how to edit the clips using a simple software like CapCut, and then building a small portfolio, even if it means working for free at the start. That's exactly how I started. I did short video projects for almost nothing just to gain experience and build a portfolio. And now I run a digital marketing agency and charge thousands per month. So this is going to be the key turning point for you. And then once you've gained a bit of experience with making these short form form videos, the next step is to find clients and start charging for it, all while still keeping your 9 to 5. And to do this, you could start by freelancing on sites like Fiverr and to offer a simple service like to shoot and edit 3 to 5 TikTok videos for $100. You don't need a fancy website or a logo or whatever. You just need a clear offer, a couple of good clients that can become your case studies, and then you can build on from there. At the same time, you could also reach out to small businesses in your area and offer to do the exact same thing. Don't be afraid or embarrassed to just literally DM them on Instagram and say something like, hey, I noticed you guys have a really wide range of awesome products, but I also noticed that your reels have really low views. If you're open to it, I'd love to help you guys create a few videos that could potentially get you more leads or something like that. And if you need a template for this, ChatGPT is going to be your best friend. Then once you get good at delivering results, now you can raise your prices and start offering monthly retainers. This is where you can turn that side hustle, freelancing income into an actual real business. Now things are going to start getting a little more exciting because first of all, congratulations if you made it to this stage. Then at least you're no longer broke. And now we're on the path to scaling that income. Most people can hustle their way to $3,000 or $5,000 a month. That's not very difficult to do. But to get to $100,000 a year, you're gonna need to have systems. What that means is you need a repeatable process for your work, like to have templates and SOPs and automation tools. Also at this stage, you might wanna consider outsourcing some parts of your work, like scripting or editing your clients' videos. You can hire other freelancers or remote workers to help you with some of these things. This is where you transition from being just a freelancer to becoming an actual business owner. So you can finally quit your job and go all in to focus on your new agency business. And instead of doing it all by yourself, you can onboard clients with a Google form, use Notion to track your projects, and then hire a video editor for like maybe $10 an hour or so. So then most of your time would just be spent handling the client and ensuring quality of the work. This way, instead of just being able to do 5 or 10 videos a week, you could possibly scale up to 30 a week or even more. And the best part is, this is how your income's gonna scale up without you burning out or having to work more hours. This is how you can get to $10,000 or even $15,000 a month. Okay, now here's the part where most people screw it all up. They hit their first 10K months and then immediately try to upgrade their lifestyle. I'm talking new apartment, new cars, dinners at nice restaurants. Please don't do that. This was the same mistake that I had made. My argument then was that I grew up without much. And so when I started making a little bit of money, I went out and started splurging on the things that I never had and spent a ton of money to try and look successful, which was a huge mistake. So please don't end up doing that. Instead, try to keep your head down and pretend like you're still broke. Because if you want to hit the 100K goal and actually keep it, you need to stay frugal even when you're making good money. That's the only way you'll be able to save and invest consistently and actually become wealthy in the long term. Now, if you're able to stay focused for this long and be disciplined to learn the skill of creating short form videos, start freelancing, and then eventually scaling up by outsourcing as you take on more clients, all of this while still living a simple, modest life, then it's just a matter of time before you hit your first 100K. And when you do eventually get to your first 100,000, it's gonna feel amazing because now you don't necessarily need to feel like you're behind in life and you'll feel like you finally got some room to breathe. But this is also a key milestone because this is where most people either continue to level up or they just plateau. So even though you're no longer broke at this point, you still have to resist the urge to upgrade your lifestyle. Don't move into a nicer apartment just because you can afford it. You don't need a better car or to start flying business class. The fastest way to lose your first 100K is to pretend like you're already a millionaire. Instead, your focus should be on growing the gap between your income versus your expenses, which means to scale your income while keeping your expenses relatively low. It's also important to protect your downside. So you want to keep at least 6 months of your living expenses in cash or liquid assets and ensure that you have adequate insurance because a lot of entrepreneurs and high earners get wrecked when they ignore tax planning. Wealth is not just about making money, but it's in keeping what you built. I've made another video talking about the 6 habits that made me my first 6 figures, so be sure to check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop a like below and subscribe if you haven't already. For now, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.